In this video, I'm going to teach you one of the top strategies to get clients quickly if you have a decent social media following. It's called the magnet drop strategy. The reason I called it that is because at the end of this video, I'm going to have dropped so much fucking value that it's going to be a mic drop or aircon remote drop, or in this case, a magnet drop moment. That was a terrible joke. Let's jump into things. So as I said before, this is going to work better if you have at least bare minimum a few hundred followers on social media that aren't your aunt, that aren't your family or friends. So no aunts and uncles unless they're going to buy from you, unless they're going to be your customers. If you have 200 followers of just family and friends, just forget about it for now. You can use this strategy later on once you've built up a little bit more of a following. Or you can test it out. You've got nothing stopping you from testing this out and just seeing if it gets you a few clients. This will work better the more followers you have. So if you're someone watching this who has 100,000 followers on your social media accounts, this will work better for you than for someone who's got 1,000 followers. All right, let's jump into it. Now, this is the overall strategy, and I'm going to quickly run through it, and then I'll break it down in a bit more depth. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a cornerstone piece of content. This is going to be very similar to what you might have heard in the past called a lead magnet. Now, a lead magnet is something you create. It might be a PDF, a video course, a cheat sheet, guide, checklist, whatever, that someone gives their information for in exchange. That you give someone for in exchange for their information. That might be their email, their name and phone number, or maybe just email and name, and you give them the cheat sheet, and in return you'll get a new subscriber on your mailing list, and then you can mail them and phone them, or they basically become a lead. That's the lead magnet strategy. This isn't that, because what we're doing here is giving stuff away to people completely for free without getting their contact details. But the actual guide that we're going to create is very similar to what it would look like if you were creating a lead magnet for some kind of lead magnet strategy. Okay, I hope that made sense. I confused myself, but I hope that made sense for you. Now, we are going to create a cornerstone piece of content. And when I say cornerstone, I mean something so valuable. The least valuable thing is just a PDF, a faceless PDF with 2 or 3 pages or 10 pages, whatever, it doesn't matter. The reason I say that's not very valuable is because time on brand is everything. And when I say on brand, I mean they have to associate the time spent doing something with your brand. If you give them a one-page checklist, that might be really valuable, but they're probably not going to remember you in a year's time as the person that gave them that checklist. They'll just have the checklist, unless your face is plastered all over that checklist. What is more valuable than just a normal checklist in this scenario, in this area, in the magnet drop strategy, is something like a podcast or a YouTube video, something with your voice or your face attached, or even a mini course. The reason that's better is because they get to see you. So they associate the value you're providing with your face, your brand. And oftentimes they're easier and quicker to create than a really in-depth, valuable PDF. That's not taking anything away from the PDF's checklist. They still might be valuable and you might want to mix them in. But when I say cornerstone, I mean something really valuable that they're going to associate you with your brand. So if you do a PDF, make sure you put your branding on that PDF. Make sure you have photos of you throughout that PDF, so you're just some faceless corporation or in this case, just a normal brand. Once we've done that, then we're going to post about it on your social media profiles. That might look like posting about it on your stories, or on your just a normal post, or even a reel if you're on Instagram. Or if you have an email list, you might send out an email saying, hey, I've got this cornerstone piece of content. You don't say cornerstone, you say, I've got this guide. Who wants it? And if it's on your stories, the idea is to get people to message you. So if you're on the stories, you have something like a call to action that says, like, heart react this story and I will send you the guide for free. Or it might be respond with the word energy and I'll send you this guide for free, providing the guide is on energy. Make it somewhat related, the keyword that they're sending you. And it's the post, you can do the same thing. If it's a post, you can say at the end of the post or in the caption, or a reel at the end of the reel, just say, DM me the word energy and I'll send you the guide for free. And you might also want to put in brackets, no email required, or no email sign up required. something like that. Just because a lot of people, they go, oh, well, I don't want to sign up to another mailing list or another thing. So if you just make it clear that you're giving it to them for free without any opt-in required, that could boost conversions as well. Then what we want to do is that everyone who comes in, who does that action, the call to action, whether it's liking story, responding to a little sticker on an Instagram story, sending you a DM, whatever, everyone who does that, what we're going to do is we're going to send them the cornerstone piece of content and start a conversation. We'll get to the exact template for that in a second. But then the ultimate goal of the conversation is to book them in for a discovery call. So we want to keep that conversation as short as possible. Once again, I'll go through that in just a second. We want to keep it as short as possible with the intention of speaking more, basically qualifying them for a call, getting their trust, and then booking them in for that call and then speaking more about your program and services on that call rather than in your DMs. Got it? Now, this is the template. The first thing you want to do is they say, hey, yes, I would like this guide. Let's say you create a guide on how to, we'll just use the example I talked about before, energy. Let's say how to maximize, how to reduce 3 p.m. slumps, energy slumps, something like that. Or how to eliminate 3 p.m. energy slumps. That can be the name of your guide. You might say, hey, name. So, hey, James, here's a link to access the how to eliminate 3 p.m. energy slumps resource for free. Send a link, send that message. Then immediately, straight after you send that message, don't wait for them to respond. Straight after you've sent that message, you'll say, by the way, is low energy something you're currently struggling with, or whatever it is that you solve for them, or with that guide. So let's say you're a weight loss coach and helping people to lose weight. Then you might create some resource around weight loss, whether that's how to track calories, how to choose calorie-friendly options when you go out to eat. Maybe that's your little guide. By the way, when you're creating your cornerstone piece of content, whether that's a PDF, a YouTube video, podcast, whatever, make sure it's not on the whole topic you cover. So if you help people lose weight, don't say how to lose weight. Rather, focus in on one specific issue that you can help them solve in that time. Because you can't realistically help someone just lose weight with one cheat sheet. It takes a bit more than that. But what you can do is help them solve a specific problem. For example, how to choose calorie-friendly options when you eat out, or whatever the specific problem that you're solving is. Okay? So once we have that guide, we've created that guide, we've sent them that guide, you'd send them the message. By the way, problem is something you're currently struggling with. So for weight loss, you might frame it as, is the benefit that you're trying to get to, so losing weight, is that currently something you're trying to do? So you might say, rather than saying, is low energy problem something you're struggling with, you might say, by the way, are you currently on a weight loss journey? You'd frame it differently. So don't blindly just take the what I've written here. I've literally just written this up in a few minutes. So don't blindly just take what I've written and try and force your problem or whatever thing that you solve and help people with into this. You might have to change it. So just use your brain with this. And then once we've done that, we're going to wait for their response. They might say, oh, thanks so much for the guide. And yes, and low energy or weight loss or whatever it is that you said. Let's just go energy for now. Yeah, low energy is something I'm struggling with right now. Then you want to personalize your response based on what they said. So if they just said, thanks for the guide, low energy, yes, low energy is something I'm struggling with right now. You might want to get a bit more information about that. So you might want to say, that sucks to hear. I also, for years, struggled with low energy before I managed to completely turn my life around. Do you mind telling me a little bit about how long this has been going on for? Maybe you can ask a more open-ended question than that, rather than they might just say, to that question you asked, they might say 3 years. But if you want a bit more of an in-depth answer, you can, or you can wait and ask a second question. So you might be like, oh, how long has that been going on for? Then they might respond and say 3 years, and then you might respond and ask another follow-up question. Now, you don't want to ask too many questions. I mentioned this earlier in the video, but keep your chat in the DMs brief. So ask 1 to 3 follow-up questions maximum. That's it. And then after that, you want to transition into trying to pitch the call to them, or a call with you to them. So you would say, honestly, James, or whatever the name is, honestly, James, I'd love to chat more and see if I can help you to boost your energy or help you lose weight or hit your weight loss goals. What's your schedule looking like over the next couple of days? I can also, and then you would send that message, bang, send. And then in the second message, you go, I can also drop my calendar link here, might be easiest. We want to reduce the amount of back and forth you have this person. Because the more back and forth you have, the more likely they are to stop responding and you'll never hear from them again. So the goal should be to get them on the call, which is why we only have 1 to 3 additional follow-up questions, not a 3-day long conversations with 30 back and forth. Keep the messages very, very short, to the point, valuable. The whole point of that is to get them to trust you, open up to you a bit, and show that you are an expert, and then pitch the call straight away. So keep it short, and if you can get them to book in with the link you send them themselves, that's going to save you a bit of back and forth, being like, oh yeah, Thursday works. What time Thursday? Got X, Y, and Z available. So rather than that, we just want to send them the link. If that's what they want, you have given them the option here to tell you what day works. So you might have to go back a bit back and forth, but you've given them the option by saying, I can also drop my calendar link here, might be easiest. You've recommended that they essentially follow your calendar link and book themselves in for a call. And that's the overall template. And you have to remember this is a numbers game. Don't expect more than 20% response rate, meaning if 20 people, or keep numbers simple, if 10 people respond to your story or post or whatever it is saying, hey, I've got this free guide, who wants it? If 10 people respond to that and you send the link to 10 people, and try and start a conversation, don't expect more than 2 of them to respond and get into a conversation with you. And don't expect more than 1 in 10, so 10% of them to book a call with you. In fact, if you can get 5% of people to book a call with you, that's great. So if you have a bigger following and you post something and you get 100 DMs of people who want that thing, you might get, let's say, 30, just to give you a few example numbers, you might get 100 people want the thing, and then 30 of them go, oh yes, I struggle with whatever. So you got into a conversation with 30 of them, and then you might get 10 of them on an actual call with you, and then you might close, depending on how good of a salesperson you are, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 of them. So that's just an example numbers. Now, if you have 500 followers, you're not going to get 100 people to respond. If you have 1,000 followers, and they're good followers. I'm going to say followers. It doesn't have to be necessarily social media followers. You can also have an email list. Like if you have a mailing list of 10,000 people that you talk to, you might be able to get 50 responses with that, and you might send people the direct link via email. The bigger your list and the more your list trusts you, the better engagement metrics you have, the more people are going to respond. And even if you have a few hundred followers, it's still worth testing this. You might get no one, you might get a few people, but it's still worth testing this, especially if you have good engagement metrics with your followers, good trust with your followers. And the beautiful thing about this is the numbers game continues, because you've just solved one little niche-y, sub-niche thing in your overall niche, one little sub-problem, if you will. Remember, we're not positioning the guide as how to lose weight, how to get more energy, how to stop binge eating, how to fix shoulder pain. It's a very specific pain. For example, if it's shoulder pain, it's how to stop the pain you feel in your shoulder after playing tennis. That's a very specific one. But the more specific of a problem you solve, the more people are likely to reach out and want that, and the more of similar ones you can do. So if you have 10,000 followers, only a few hundred might see your story. But if you have a few different pieces of cornerstone content that you can cycle between, 1 week you might say, hey, shoulder pain for tennis players, whatever. And then the next week you might have hip pain, how to eliminate hip pain for tennis players, or shoulder pain for water polo players, or something. I don't know, sports injuries, you get the point. And you can cycle between these cornerstone pieces of content, maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. And the beautiful thing about that is people who might have seen your last one but weren't intrigued by that thing because it didn't solve the specific problem they had, the next week, now you have a free guide that's solving that specific problem. And also you keep in mind that not everyone will watch your video or see your post on social media or see your story that you've posted. So you might not get somebody for the first 2 or 3 times you do it, but then the 4th one, they see that and then they finally reach out. So it's a numbers game, not only the people who respond to you and get into a conversation with you and that you book in for a sales call, but also the number of times that you do this. Don't always have the same guide. Cycle between 3, 4, 5, or 6 different guides that solve slightly different problems and maybe in slightly different mediums. Maybe you have a YouTube video. It can be public or it can be unlisted where no one can see it apart from the people you send a link to. Totally fine either way. It can be a mini course. It can be PDF. You get the point. I'm not going to go into the different cornerstone pieces of content that you can create, but it has to be valuable, because when people watch it, they have to go, yes, I would love to work with this person. They seem like a very knowledgeable person. Now, that's not the goal. The goal is to just start conversations and then book them in for a sales call. But also, you're building value with the time on brand of them spending time watching that video, that 5-minute, 10-minute, 20-minute video. It doesn't matter. Okay? Now, this is just one strategy that we use with our clients to help them generate clients more consistently. And this is a strategy to get clients ASAP. So if you need clients this week, we typically focus on more consistent long-term strategies that are going to work always without you having to shake your ass on and do crazy stuff or constantly be making new guides and resources, throwing them out there. We don't want you to have to always do that. Which is why typically the strategies that we give to our clients are more long-term focused, consistent, turn the tap on when you need clients, turn it off when you are full kind of strategies. This strategy is great for getting clients this week, and you should definitely do it, but you don't really want to be doing this every week for the next 6 months. That would get pretty tiring and annoying, and your audience might get a little bit frustrated with you posting this all the time. So this is a now strategy. So if you want more of these kinds of strategies and to get clients more consistently, then the best thing to do is to book a strategy call with us if you're not already a client. If you're already in our world, if you're already one of our clients, then I hope you've got some awesome value out of this video, and you can go off and watch the other 100 videos we have about how to generate clients. But if you're not currently in our world, then book a strategy call with us at healthcoachgrowthhub.com/strategy call. Apart from that, I will see you in the next video. Adios, amigos, and go get some clients.